Slide, Understanding the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS. Video series. Video 8, Taking Action with Your NDIS Plan, an AFDO Disability Loop workshop.
Slide saying Part 5, Taking Action with Your NDIS Plan.
Slide saying Putting NDIS Plans into Action with image of person with shopping basket. A view of presenter sitting at a table at the front of the room. She reads notes from a braille booklet.
Part 5, we're looking at taking action with the NDIS plan. That means we're putting the NDIS plan into action. So after going through the access process and the planning process, all the hard work's over once it's been approved. Then it's time to live the life the way that you want to live it. And this is when you start accessing those reasonable and necessary supports that have been funded. So you need to start shopping around.
Slide saying Understanding Marketing Messages.
So it's really important to start understanding marketing messages. It seems to be a simple thing to say, but not everyone understands marketing and advertising. And service providers, the people that provide the support, they're now competing with each other. They don't just get a lump of money now called block funding. They now have to try and win you over to them. You come and spend your resources with us. We'll give you the service. Don't go to Jack next door, come to us. So they're competing for your NDIS dollar. And so that, because they want to help, they want you to be their customer, they're going to be advertising. There's going to be a lot more. Just like there's fast food chains out there. All of them compete. All the fast food chains, they provide similar food, slightly different. Everyone has their own preferences. So they're always advertising, aren't they? You'll always see lots of fast food advertising around and marketing. And in order for you to get the best service, you have to start shopping around. And so because they're competing, they're going to be advertising a lot more than they used to. The providers that provide the best options are going to be the smart ones, because they're going to provide what people want rather than just do what they used to do. Service providers have been providing a lot of good services. I'm not necessarily knocking service providers. They have provided really good services that help a lot of people. But it's important that they change as the demands change and as more people want certain things, that those things come up. And they need to market that. But advertising doesn't always tell us the truth or all the information. So how do you tell what's good and what's right in terms of what's true and what's just marketing? And they're just saying things like, well, we provide the best service. We're going to look at a scenario now, and I'm going to ask someone just to read something out so you can take a break from listening to my voice. Do we have a volunteer that could read the little scenario called the Sony sales question on page 31 of your handbook?
Image of text being read.
So Brianna's going to read the Sony salespeople question, a little scenario.
Sony salespeople question. Say you already own a Sony TV. It has not caused you many problems, and it has been okay, but it is old and starting to break down. You decide to visit the Sony store because you want to buy a new TV. You haven't done any research, but you think the salespeople at Sony can help you because you have bought a TV from them before. The salesperson tells you that the new TV they are offering is the best, and you are convinced by their enthusiasm. Do you think the person will be happy with their new Sony TV? Will it be the best option? Could they have done something else before purchasing? If so, what?
Very good reading. Thank you, Brianna. So, what are some of the answers to that? Do you think you'd be happy with the new Sony TV? Will it be the best option?
I've just been I work selling TVs, and if someone came in without having done any research, it's most likely not going to be this fine. Because they will they will rely on your word completely, and as a salesperson, you'll just try to sell the one where you're getting the most income.
Oh, very good. So Sina's touched on quite a few points there. Very good. So without doing any research, just buying the best one, it may not be the best one. And if you're just relying on someone's word that it's the best, it may be because they're just trying to sell you the one that they get the most income from, or a commission sometimes people get. So Sina's already brought up a number of issues there. And what do you take away from that? First of all, what do we call it when someone benefits from recommending you do something, but they benefit if you do it?
Manipulation.
Yeah, it's also called conflict of interest.
Slide saying understanding conflict of interest.
So conflict of interest is where they suggest you do something. If you follow it, they will get money or some other advantage. And not all salespeople are just going to try and do that, but it's important to make sure that you don't fall into the hands of someone that's just going to talk you into something because they want you to take their service.
Slide saying understanding being a shopper, with image of NDIS plan, receipts, hand-holding credit card, price tags, wallet with cash sticking out, coins and a calculator.
So that involves understanding being a shopper. What are some of the things that you can do to be a good shopper? We've heard the word already come up. Speak up. Research. I heard someone say research before. So would I be wrong in thinking that people research before they go and buy a couch or a fridge? Yeah, people research, and there's different ways you can research. So what are some of the ways that you might research when you want to buy, let's say, a car? So, was that Google? Yeah, yeah. A lot of people consult Google, the internet, they do their searching. What are some other ways that you can find out about things? So let's say you're looking for a disability advocacy service. You might do an online search. Absolutely, you can talk to others, and it's really important that you talk to a lot of people, because if you just talk to mum and you only get mum's opinion, well, mum might be very happy with a certain couch or fridge or something, but it's a bias, you know. So by weighing up things, talking to people, you can weigh up the options. So, because what suits one person doesn't suit another person. So talk to a wide variety of people, do research. There's even places that will do reviews. So you can look online at websites that might review different services. Maybe there's a range of service providers that help children with autism. How do you choose which one's best for you? Well, it's important that you do research, ask people, and also work out what you want.
Yes. I'm just wondering, can it be a part of the plan to have, for example, say 3 trial periods with 3 different providers to see which one suits the person best?
Okay, the question is, can you have in your plan the trial period? No, the plan doesn't do that. The plan might give you the support to get services, but the plan, NDIS, doesn't say you have to use this person or that. So once you've got your plan, you then go and find, it's up to you as the person. By giving you this freedom of choice, you also have the responsibility of finding the services. Now, there is a function called support coordination who can help you if you're not able to find the service providers. But if you start with one service provider and you're really not happy with them and they're not providing you with what you want, you can change at any time. So you can't change your plan within the year, but you can change your providers if you're not happy. So if you end up changing providers 3 times in a year, that's your choice. There may be agreements about cancelling services. So when you go and weighing up your options, good to go to the service providers and have a meeting, work out your questions and interview them. Basically say, I'm thinking of using your service. What can you provide? These are my needs. What do you do if I wish to get out of your service? Or what is your cancellation policy if I can't make a meeting? And be brave and ask them questions, because you're giving them your business now. So think of it as an interview that you're having with them. And that way you can then shop around and then make the decision. If you're not confident to do that or don't have the ability to do that, you can get a service support coordination in your plan. Does that answer your question, Sine? Yeah. Okay.
Slide saying research available disability service providers.
So, as I said, it's really important to research available disability service providers, ask them questions, know what you want, and there's online places where you can look. Even the NDIS has a thing called the Provider Finder. So you can use that tool or other tools, but there's peer support groups. For example, there's an organisation called Blind Citizens Australia. They're a peer support group. So they're run by blind people. I can go there and get information about what are the service providers out there for me. So peer support groups are another good source of information. If you've got a child at school, speak to other parents that might have children with similar disabilities. So it's all about taking the time to find out what's out there and getting this support from a support coordinator if you can't do it yourself. If you think you're likely to need that, you should bring that up at the planning meeting.
Slide asking, what is plan management? With image of hand holding cash.
So now we're looking at plan management. I mentioned this earlier. Plan management is all about managing the funds or the budget in your plan. And basically there's 4 different options. You can do agency managed. That's where you get the service, but the NDIA pays that provider directly. You don't have to worry about receipts or bills. You can just contact them and say, I've chosen you, I want your service. But when they give the service, they'll go back to the agency, the NDIA, to get the money. That's a very common plan management. Then there's another plan management option called plan management provider. And the plan management provider is where someone does that for you. So they can pay the bills for you, get the receipts, help you with the budgeting, make sure everything's divvied up and paid for. So they're a bit like your bookkeeper for you. The third option is self-managed, where you get to keep your records, do your budgeting, say, well, I've got 22,000 over 10 months, that's about, or 11 months, that's about 2,000 a year, a month, I want to spend it on this and that. So with self-management, you have to keep records for 5 years. You have to be able to budget, maybe even negotiate prices, and be aware of how to budget and manage your records. And a lot of people like that, and they like that control. So those 2 options of plan management provider and self-managed are 2 different options where you're allowed to use providers that are not registered with either the NDIA or what they call the Quality and Safeguards Commission, which is a new commission rolling out in Australia. So let me backtrack. If you are a service provider that is registered with the Quality and Safeguards Commission, then anyone can use you. Whichever plan they use. Like they might be agency managed, they might be self-managed. So everyone can use providers that are registered, but only the people that choose self-management or plan management provider can use non-registered. So I might be, let's say I provide speech therapy, but I have chosen not to register as a provider. If you're self-managing your plan, you can come to me for your speech therapy. But if you're agency managed, you can only use registered providers. We do have someone, Alana's from a plan management provider. Did you want to add anything to what I've said?
The only thing that I would add is I think it's important for us to all know what our rights and responsibilities are within the scheme, and I think it's good for participants to know that it is your legislative right to choose one of those. So if you choose to be self-managed, it's actually your legislative right. So if you requested at your plan meeting, you very well should get it, but that's good information to have in your back.
Thank you, that's a good point. So it is your right to choose which method of plan management you want, and you can also have a combination of those different methods. So you may choose to self-manage part of your plan and have the other part managed by a provider or agency managed. The good thing about that is you can maybe feel that you can manage a little bit of it, but you don't want the responsibility of managing it all yet, but you might put in your plan that you develop skills in money management or budgeting, bookkeeping. So you can go over to self-management when you want, if you want. The other thing is if you do get plan management provider, that's paid for in your plan as well. So it's not extra cost for you. So you might say, well, I think I need a plan manager. That will be funded. And fact sheet 4 contains more information on the different methods of plan management.
Production of the AFDO Disability Loop, Understanding the NDIS video series has been made possible with funding from the Victorian Government. AFDO would like to thank video participants and those who provided feedback on video drafts for their contributions. Video services, audio description and captioning by AngryChair. Auslan interpreting by Auslan Services. Remember to visit disabilityloop.org.au.